Welcome to the very first episode of BBN, Business Beyond Numbers. This channel was born from a simple idea that the most powerful business stories aren't told in headlines. They are actually hidden inside the strategy decks, annual reports, sustainability reports, investor presentation, and the quiet decisions companies make while no one is watching. Here we read between the numbers to ask, where is this business really going? What's the long game? And what does it mean for the future of the industry? And for our very first episode, we picked a company most people think they already understand. They know them very well. But what if I told you that this firm, once seen as a generic drug maker, is now quietly investing billions into innovation, specialty therapies, and AI-driven infrastructure? And hence, I'm very excited to decode the transformation of Sun Pharma and why its financial year 25 strategy might just shape the next decade of Indian pharmaceutical industry. It's the largest pharma company in India with a market share of close to 8.3%, ranks number one by prescription across different prescribers, market leader in the chronic segment, very strong positioning in the acute segment, developing technically complex products across the different baskets, and 29 brands are part of the India's top 300 pharmaceutical brands. 17% of the Indian revenues comes from those products, and with a very strong sales strength of close to 15,000 people out in the field. In this slide, we'll try to cover where they are exactly moving to. We all know that Sun Pharma is India's largest pharma company, but most people still think them of a generic machine. And hence, what if I told you that they are quietly reinventing that image using R&D, digitization as the global ambition? You know Sun Pharma for its generic business. But this July, their presentation, their investor presentation, their deck showed a bigger game. It specifically showed how R&D scaling specialty drugs are leading growth and digitization is really becoming the backbone. This isn't just India's largest pharma company, it's actually evolving into a modern science-led global business. Welcome once again to Business Beyond Numbers, and we will here try to decode what Sun Pharma is really building for 2030. Before we deep dive, let us also see what the chairman, the managing director, Mr. Dilip Sangvi has to say. The company is deepening its focus on specialty products, increasing R&D investments, and expanding across the regulatory markets. And when we deep dive, you will understand how this expansion of across the regulatory markets gives them so much of power, so much of control, right? And de-risking strategies. Now let's try to understand where Sun Pharma is actually heading to and what's more there. Where Sun Pharma is actually shifting, right? The real story has started unfolding in their specialty business, and that's actually accelerating really fast. And if you see over the last 5 to 6 years, especially in the last few years, Sun has acquired cutting-edge biotech firms like Checkpoint Therapeutics in oncology and Consort Pharma, gaining access to potential breakthroughs for alopecia areata. It also completed the full acquisition of Taro, bringing the dermatology innovation completely under its control. On the launch front, it has been multiple global rollout. Sezaby, the only FDA-approved therapy for neonatal seizures. Winlevi, Sequa, Sorica LD in the US. Ilumya, Yonsa gaining ground results, gaining high revenue across the regulated markets. These, if you see these overall products, these are not just a commoditized product. They are actually IP-led assets with the pricing power and longer life cycles. Sun's specialty revenue now makes up a significant share of its US business, and now they are expanding the same strategy into Japan, Canada, and the European market. The management discussions, analysis, and the overall tone in this year report says it all. It's no longer about volume and scale. It's about complexity, innovation, and the long-term defensibility. They isn't chasing margins, it's engineering a higher place in the value chain, where discovery, differentiation, digital enablement matter more than just market share. If we take a closer look at their financial year, you would see how the formulation across the different markets have been. So all these numbers are in INR, in million, in represented in millions. So if we see the percentage change from FY24 to 25 in terms of the formulation business for India has increased by 13.7%, which is the highest across all the markets, right? And in total, if you see the total business across India, US, emerging markets, API, rest of the world, and others, the total revenue that across gross revenue across operations were around 520 billion, and that's the reason they are a $6 billion size company, right? And if we try to now deep dive a little bit across all of these markets, we'll try to understand that how and what is the key role they are playing across geographies now. To start with India, they're the largest pharma company in India with 8.3% market share, number one with across different sort of prescribers, with the sale of close to 169 billion. On the other hand, if you see the US formulations, their sale has been close to around 162 billion, and their specialty and generics, they have multiple products lined up. They are the 12th largest generics company in the US, and with a very, very strong pipeline. Right? Now we will try to share what's the R&D ambition that Sun Pharma has. You exactly see here that how 6.2% of the revenue was invested under R&D, which is close to around 3,000 CR. And in pharma landscape, R&D is always treated as a cost center, not a growth engine. But Sun isn't following that script. It's building a pipeline, not just a portfolio. With over 100 active development programs underway, from dermatology to autoimmune diseases to oncology, ophthalmology, biosimilars, the company is focusing on the regulated markets, where complexity brings pricing power and innovation builds resilience. They are not going to be the copy-paste molecules anymore. They are differentiated, IP-driven assets designed to create very, very long-term value and not just temporary revenue. And unlike many other Indian pharma companies that use digital as a buzzword, Sun is embedding into daily operations. The report mentions digital quality systems, electronic batch records, cloud-based compliance monitoring, and lab informatics platform. All signs of digitized supply chain and manufacturing line. They are also investing in AI for drug discovery and clinical data management, which is a smart move considering how data-intensive specialty research actually are. And now, what more they are doing? So, probably my few of my next slides will help you understand. We all know that Sun is the for US Sun is one of the biggest market and it's the biggest risk also. Generic drug pricing in the US is at the race to the bottom, right? But Sun's FY24 report shows they are hedging smartly with specialty products, regulated market, diversification strategy. They are actually reducing dependency on single geography by building many moderate scale opportunities, which is a very classic de-risking strategy. And that's why they acquired Concert Bio and doubled down on specialty commercialization. So what is the road ahead? Enhanced share of specialty branded business you will see. Continue to focus on complex generics and high entry barrier segments because that's where the pricing power would be there. Ensuring broader product offering to customers across multiple dosage forms. Focus on compliance, product robustness, and obviously supply chain efficiency. Now let us try to understand what's their FY25 annual report, or in other words, let us try to summarize what their annual report actually represents, what we can take out, what would be our key takeaway, and how do we see Sun Pharma by 2030. Based on my analysis, I'm 100% sure that by 2030, Sun doesn't want to be just a manufacturer. They want to be really focusing on science-led, platform-enabled IP creating. And this foundation is already being laid with R&D powerhouse. Investment of close to 6.8% of the total revenue, which is close to around 3,000 CR. They are investing highly on the digitized infrastructure, meeting the global regulatory compliance across multiple geographies. I'm sure if they continue at this pace and manage risks, Sun could evolve into India's most globalized innovation-led pharma brand. And their message through their sustainability report, through the annual reports, through the investor deck is very clear. They are becoming a science-first, innovation-backed global pharma player and not just a low-cost manufacturer. If they can scale specialty launches, execute the R&D pipelines, and I'm 100% sure which they would be able to and navigate the global risk, they will be one of the future-ready pharma companies out of India by 2030. With this, we come towards the end of our very first analysis, and I'm sure if this gives you a sharper lens into how Sun Pharma's outlook as future looks like, please like, subscribe and comment, and let me know which annual report or investor deck you want me to decode next. Thank you once again. This is Business Beyond Numbers, where strategy meets story. Thank you.